Just in time.
Sort of. Welcome back to There Will Be Duds, people. I am your co-host, J-Spot Jack Cheese, aka TJ, and with me, as always.
Hi, I am Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
I am Travis, aka the Super General.
And
We
this
sound
week,
enthusiastic.
and this week we all watched a movie, and it is the morning time on a Sunday yet again, because October has been a weird month for us. Mostly me, I guess. This is mostly all my fault, but yeah, we watched a movie, but also we have intro topics that we do before we talk about the main movie to fluff out our time.
You know the format.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin killed a guy. Or killed a lady.
A girl. Lady. Yeah.
A lady. A cinematographer.
I meant to bring up this beforehand because I didn't know her myself, but I know a lot of people who did know her.
Oh, really?
Helena, the cinematographer. So felt a little uncomfortable talking about it on the show. Yeah, that's actually how I found out about it, and why I was like, I didn't even know this was like such a big story, because like I saw one of my friends post it from one of the movies I did, and he was like, "Oh, she passed away," and I was like, "Oh, she looks like," cause like, she's like not that old. I was like curious what happened, so I looked at the comments, and it was somebody like mentioned an accident, and I was like, "Oh, she got in a car accident," and then I knew she was like a filmmaker, because I knew that's like where he knew her from. And then I saw someone else post the same thing, and then someone mentioned a gun, and I was like, and then I kind of pieced it together, and I was like, oh shit, probably like a prop gun. And then like I refreshed my feed, and it was like the first like 3 things I saw was like IGN, like new or like other like news articles saying like Alec Baldwin kills person on set. I was like, oh fuck, holy shit. But yeah, most of what I'd seen was from like all from people that I've worked with that knew her. So I guess like I've seen it a bunch, but I just assumed it was because it was like people who knew her or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the escalation of the story is just like, oh, there was an accident on a movie set, on an Alec Baldwin movie set, and then it was director of photography accidentally shot, and then it was we need to, like, all the Trump supporters, because he like portrayed Trump on SNL. It was Alec Baldwin for prison, and then it's
I
like
saw
this
that
slow
trending on
escalation
Twitter. Yeah.
Of, like,
oh my god.
yeah, it's gone to like, then it went to like award-winning director of photography, like accidentally shot, because now there's like a thing where he jokingly said, I'm gonna shoot somebody or something like that, and now it's like,
well, this
it's like going to the point of like premeditated. Alec Baldwin's like gonna kill people
on that first
purpose.
first person's post. Before I even saw any of the news articles, there were people saying like, "Oh, it's premeditated," blah blah blah. Like, yeah, I'm sure Alec Baldwin was like, you know what,
today's
Alec
the day.
Baldwin, yeah, I'm gonna fucking murder somebody. You know, I'm in my 60s. I feel like I've earned it. You know, I can probably get away with it. Like,
I'm gonna do it in public too.
I think like if anyone
30 Rock ended, I've got nothing else going for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like when you're talking about like a movie set, man, this is what I mean. Like, I don't want to speculate too much. Not that I think any of these people actually listen to our podcast, but it just kind of feels a little weird speculating about like a friend of a friend's death or whatever.
He's like, oh no,
But yeah,
I'm
like I don't,
becoming Steven. I need to do something.
I just no, I think like if any, I don't feel like he's the one to point fingers at necessarily, because like
it sounds like the whole thing was just kind of ramshackle. I've just been reading headlines basically, and that's where my my interest was lying in the slow, like the timeline escalation of like, ooh, this. It's almost like they said, they announced they really there's a release like, oh, somebody was killed on a movie set, and then it got a bunch of traction. So then, media being media, like
Mm-hmm.
hyped it up, and now it's like there's these deep dive like investigations of like,
Yeah,
normally you go through like these rigorous steps, and
yeah.
it's, I don't know. I just think it's that part of it's interesting.
Yeah.
From what I read, it looked like this is like not the first time that a prop gun misfire had happened on set though, and
Right. That's what I've
On
heard.
that
Yeah.
set.
On
yeah.
that set. Yeah.
I think also the current like strike that's going on right now is like a factor, because also from what I read is like
Oh yeah.
they had a bunch of non-union people like dealing with shit, and like when you don't have, when you call in the scabs to like
Yeah.
try and do shit, this is what happens.
Unless
Yeah.
it's the replacements, then you get to the playoffs.
Yeah. Um.
I saw
Yeah.
like another article like Bob Odenkirk talking about like how brutal the sets are on Better Call Saul, like
Mm,
14-hour days, just
mm.
like. So it's like I think he was like, standing in solidarity with like the people striking, but
Yeah. There was there actually, like, the morning that it happened, there was a crew walkout, like a bunch of the
Mm-hmm.
camera crew. That's why they had the people. That there was a walkout because like it was. So what I heard, and most of what I heard is just from people that people that I know posting about it, or people commenting on it. And I'm assuming like not all the people commenting on those posts know firsthand. They're probably just reciting stuff that they read in articles, but like, yeah, they had like 17-hour work days
Oh,
plus a 50-mile drive from Albuquerque to Santa Fe. Like they couldn't get them boarding in Santa Fe. So that's like 19 hours at, like, including driving.
Jesus.
Yeah, see, the more details that come out, I guess I can see how it was premeditated.
I
All
guess
of these
in the
things
sense of
are.
like it was all like building. Not I just mean like not premeditated in the sense of like, you know, I don't
No,
think
I was just kidding.
some. Oh, okay. Well, I
I was
mean,
just
like,
saying.
it's not premeditated, but it's more like you could totally see this coming. And like the thing
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
there being other misfires on set, and like that was another reason people were like upset that they weren't properly handling the guns. And also like they keep calling them prop guns, but it's an actual gun. Like it's really like dumb that they when they refer to it's because they're being used as props in a movie, but
Right.
it's a real gun that can shoot bullets.
Yeah,
People that shot a bullet and killed a person.
that's what doesn't make sense to me is like on a movie set, like I don't understand why you would ever even have live rounds on the set. Like I understand how you would have like
Right?
a blank, and then
I
like
think
in the case of like Brandon Lee where they have it like it's a revolver and you can
Mhm.
see like down the barrels or the
Yeah,
chambers,
yeah.
whatever, you can see the like, yeah, okay, you want to have it look like there's a bullet there, but like I don't understand why you would ever have actual real
yeah,
working bullets.
from what I read, I think that justification is that like prop bullets don't look as realistic as real bullets. I literally think that's it, which is
Then like
so stupid.
but that's it is so stupid because like when do you need a bullet to look like a real bullet on a close up? I still would say just make fake looking bullets. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like
there's literally no
craft one.
reason.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And
Yeah,
like
I don't
if
think I've
people are
ever.
literally fucking dying, I get like going for realism, and I know certain directors like David Fincher or uh I don't Stanley Kubrick would like not give a shit because they're auteurs or whatever, as much as I love their movies.
Mhm.
But I would be like it honestly, if it's like, oh, if the decision ends up being between like, oh well, we can't make bullets looking real enough versus somebody fucking dying, I can take a little bit of like a minor like bit of like fake lookingness to a movie.
Yeah.
It's you know.
You're not gonna like
there's-
lay in your bed at night staring at the ceiling fan because you're like, that bullet didn't look real.
Yeah.
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 You could literally, you could make, if it's a revolver, right? You could have like 3 different guns. You could have one that you can open up and you see the back of the bullet with the whatever you call it, not the primer, but the
Hammer?
I think so. I think the
no,
hammer-
that's on the gun itself. The the end of the bullet where the hammer hits.
Okay.
You see that part of it. It's in it. There's not even any shell that comes in and out of it, right? It's just that part. And then you have the opposite, the front view, where you can see just a bullet and put like a real bullet in it, but you make it so you can't put anything else behind that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and then have a third one that can shoot blanks. And then it's like, okay, for this shot, we need this gun. It's like, I mean, that's another like continuity thing that you'd have to like think of, but like, I mean, they're constantly taking pictures of people and like for continuity, just for characters looks, like where they had blood on their face or
Yeah.
whatever. It just seems like, yeah, like lazy and unnecessary. I mean, case in point or whatever, the like in Who Killed Captain Alex, when like it took me a little bit to notice that the dude's bandoliers were wooden bullets. Like
Exactly.
like
If those guys can make bandoliers
I
that
wouldn't
you're
have even.
seeing
I didn't even notice.
constantly, that like you notice, but not it. But like what Hollywood can make, like passing bullets for a little bit, like I think a Hollywood production
Yeah.
can fucking make fake looking bullets.
Well, this was
I
like
mean, yeah.
this is also like a very very small budget. Like
yeah,
it was like day 12 of like a 21-day shoot. This is like yeah. So yeah, it's a small budget. You blew all the budget on getting real bullets. Like
yeah.
I think that people like, I mean, you do expect some amount of realism, but at the same time, like everybody knows when you go to see a movie and they're shooting guns, they're not actually shooting real guns and real bullets.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like
If seeing down the chamber of a gun and you see, oh, that bullet looks kind of fake, like, yeah, no fucking shit, dude. Like if that takes you out of the movie that much, and I am kind of nitpicky when it comes to this kind of stuff, like, like anybody like crawling down vents and it's like, no, like that's a little bit different, but like, I mean, just use your sense of imagination. Okay, it's a fake bullet.
I saw this one movie where there was a train that was coming towards the screen. It scared the shit out of me, and I ran out of the theater.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Superman can't actually fly.
Yeah.
None of
still
the
real to
Avengers
me,
are
damn
doing
it.
what they're actually doing. Yeah, it's fucking that's a ridiculous excuse.
Yeah, like I'm all for authenticity and making a movie look as good as you can, but not when
That's
you're
just-
wagering human lives
Yeah.
for fucking insert shots. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, and from what I understand, the shot where it happened wasn't even like a close up or whatever. It was just like a normal. It was like a. I don't know the specifics, but it said like he was like, they were like 20, 30 feet away or something like that, I think. And they weren't even like getting the shot. He was just kind of like rehearsing, and they were behind the camera like getting it set up, like lining it up or whatever. And all he was supposed to do was like draw his gun. So I don't even think he was supposed to fire it in the shot, but like they gave him a loaded gun. And like you can't just say that like, oh, they gave that to him, and then he was like, a lot of times I would think, especially with when you're working with prop guns, that like when between shots there's a lot of setup. Like it's not just like when we're shooting videos and it's like, okay, we got this shot, and then the cameraman like Andy, moves 5 feet over and then it's like, okay, let's do the next shot. It's like you get one shot down, you do that a couple times, and then you have like a fucking 15-20 minute setup for like the next shot that's like slightly different, right? So I feel like between the shots, Alec Baldwin's probably not just holding on to the gun, right? They probably hand that back to the prop master.
Spinning it around on his finger.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, but like,
I mean,
so if it was just him pulling it out, why would they even have anything in the gun?
Yeah.
Right? I
I
don't know.
mean, we probably shouldn't do this, but it it probably wasn't Alec Baldwin, but like maybe the prop handler was like, man, that chick is
Oh my
like
god.
really
See,
like
now we're getting into the conspiracy
that's like
side of it.
yeah.
We
I'm
where
just
we
saying
had
like
to end up, yeah.
if you're gonna go on somebody's like did it intentionally, like that would be the person that I would look to first, not Alec Baldwin. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah, that is interesting that like the heat is all on Alec Baldwin when it was like probably
Yeah.
some
I think it's
scab
it's
prop
his
worker.
set, you know?
Yeah,
It's
I
his
guess so.
set.
Well, he's like also like
it's-
the one with like the most notoriety, so like that's where
Yeah.
it's all gonna fall on.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we doing which one are we doing first? Blob?
Yeah.
The Blob.
Okay. Well, let's get
Speaking
into it.
of scabs.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of scabs, here's an ad from our sponsor.
Oh, Anchor's gonna love that.
Ba-dum-bum. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna make some stuff for this too, but
Oh.
Like another video or something,
a
or
couple like really short. The video here. This is stream only
Sure.
joke. There's the one cop who's like really like angry at
Yeah.
The guy,
Kevin Dillon. Is that his name? Kevin Dillon.
Yeah. Yep.
The whole time, and he's got like a big bushy mustache,
Mhm.
and then
Dude
like a
from ER.
receding hairline. I was just gonna take his mustache off his face and like have it flip 180 degrees and go up and fill in his hairline.
Oh, man.
That was all I was gonna do for the Bob.
Oh.
I like as
So-
I was falling asleep last night, I was like thinking of an idea for making a bedeviled one. Just it'd be like super simple. Just like I'd be looking at my phone and then I just record like I don't know, like dumb dialogue like the movie has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're back.
Are we ready to get back?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're back
And we're back.
from the break that you just heard. And this episode we are talking the 1988 remake of The Blob, directed by Chuck Russell III. And it is it's a remake of the 50s creature feature The Blob, about I don't know how else to describe it, a blob that falls out of the sky and starts devouring people in this sleepy mountain town, and a couple teenagers try to race around to like try to figure out what's going on, try to figure out how to stop it, try to warn people, but keep hitting dead ends or like snags. Yeah, and that applies to both versions of the Blob. This one, the remake, however, decides to take a couple little twists and turns with the original's fairly straightforward plot, which I really dug. But yeah, who wants to start us off?
First of all, I'm just gonna say that I really like this movie. Second of all, when I went to watch it yesterday, I made like just a big fat Italian sandwich before I started. Like it was just, like greasy and leaking like oil from the giardiniera on it, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have made this before I turned this movie on. I thought so. I guess I went into this expecting. I thought it was going to be like a dumb, like less than B movie, because I guess it has
movie.
because I guess my perception of it, or like what I had heard about it, I just thought it was gonna be like one of those schlocky like dumb horror movies from the 80s that just like it's kind of lost to time a little bit, or you know. But I was surprised at how, and then you look at like the director and the writer, and like I think you said in like the last episode that it's like the two guys that wrote like Shawshank Redemption,
Well,
like wrote
just
and
Frank
direct
Darabont did.
Frank Darabont,
Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont did Nightmare on Elm Street
Dream
3
Warriors.
before this, which is why I decided to go with this one. And then Frank Darabont went on to do, write and direct Shawshank Redemption
And The Green Mile.
The Green Mile and The Mist and then
Yeah.
The Walking Dead. He like started that show too.
Right. So yeah, I was very surprised at how like smart the writing was and how good it was. I was
Same.
like, oh shit. Like there's a part that, and I think also it had like a pretty decent like social message. Because I think from what I was reading, where the movies differ from like the original versus the remake, so I guess spoiler territory in this one.
Yeah, go for it.
The blob is like a government experiment gone wrong that they launched into space. They made something so scary they literally just tried to fling it into space to make it go away.
Oh, I didn't think it was gone wrong. I thought it was like
It's
the
too
one dude
good.
was excited about it. He was like,
I mean, that's kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but like the part that made me laugh, the part that like my first good like oh shit was when like they take the like the drifter guy to the hospital and he's got like this pulsing blob on his hand and the nurse is just like, okay, well, who's his medical insurance provider? I was like, whoa.
Does he have Blue Cross and Blue Shield?
Yeah.
Like, oh damn, this shit is ingrained in our society for like
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
I took note of that too. Yeah. Yeah, I like exactly the same as you feel. Like I knew a little bit more about like I basically I watched I had seen the Red Letter Media did a review on it. And so I kind of got the idea that it's like wasn't going that, and that's kind of what put it on my radar. Because I've had this DVD for a long time, but I've never watched it because I thought it was going to be garbage. I just got it because I think I told you because I saw that Donovan's son was in it, and I was like, that's weird. I didn't know he was an actor because I really like Donovan. But yeah, I totally agree. Really smart, and like I don't know if it's because I've been watching the Nightmare on Elm Street series, which I love that for what it is, which I kind of want to cover like in the next episode. But like not smart, right? Like very basic dumb scripts, but I do really like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but for the most part they're like your basic horror, and this one, I'm like something like I don't know if I've just been if I've been attuned to that kind of dumb schlocky 80s horror writing that like I think a coherent like thoughtful script is like amazing, because I was like, wow, yeah, okay, this character acted like this now, and then like all of these the character arcs make sense, like everything tracks, nothing is like out of left field, really, it all like makes sense as a straightforward story, and like really that's just how all stories should be. They should make sense, right? And character actions should mean something, but that's not the case in a lot of movies.
A lot of movies I feel like that would fall into like, I guess your bargain bin horror movies. I feel like people would throw the blob in there, but it's like
too.
it's much smarter than that. There's like some really good like setups and payoffs too.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, like setups and payoffs. Yes, like there's always like a payoff for like pretty much everything.
Also, it does one of my favorite things that movies do, which is
have
like this
Jack Nance in them.
Yes, well, yes, but they do the visual match thing, where like someone will get like gored to death, and then someone like dips their fry in ketchup. But it was like the homeless guy like got the blob all over his arm, and then it cuts to someone just like slurping Jello.
Yeah,
love
I like
that shit.
Too.
Love it.
Yeah, I guess it's not like a major thing, but just since you mentioned it, that like the difference and like the change from the original that I made is like, I mean the original is a pretty normal, like it is just an alien,
Right.
and that's it. There's no like nuance or anything to it, and that this one made it. Oh no, it's actually like a government experience. I was like, oh shit, okay. Knowing the original movie, I think that twist got me even more, because up until that point it mostly more or less followed the same thing, right? It was just like a modernized version of it. It's like it follows some teenagers, um and there's an alien thing and starts eating people. Like that was all the same. So I think, yeah, having seen the original one, the twist surprised me. But I think maybe if I didn't know the story, maybe I would have been more like, something's going on here. Uh, but yeah, do you have anything to say, Jarvis?
Uh, I
Did
thought
you
it
not
was
like it?
lame.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
did,
really
really?
like it. No. I
Oh,
mean, it was entertaining in like a corny 80s movie way. There was some entertaining stuff, but I mean I wouldn't like heap on praise for it. This is like fucking Kevin Dillon is such a dweeb in this. He's just a dweeb in general, but he's so dweeby in this. Like I was
he's
making
sweet.
jokes. He's like drinking beer on the like broken bridge thing, and then he throws the beer can, and he's like, "I'm gonna go for this jump or something," and then he like starts to do it, and that's kind of one of I think that shit's hilarious because uh Sunny reference for the episode. They do this thing in one of their Lethal Weapon episodes where he has to like make a basket or something, and he misses, and then at the end he's like he has to throw a basketball to hit like a button to like knock Danny DeVito into like lava or some shit. And he's like, if you do this, you'll have redeemed yourself from the earlier part of the story. And they like spell it out, and I'm like he goes to do this jump, and then like somehow the bike malfunctions, so it's not even
Yeah, he
really him,
biffs
but
it.
he's like he biffs it. And then I was making jokes every time he came on screen, like, oh, I gotta do the big jump. I gotta do the big jump. I gotta get my bike fixed so I could do the big jump. And then like I fell asleep, and then Kelly, when I woke up, Kelly was like, "Yeah, it was kind of funny and stuff." And I was like, "Did he do the big jump?" And she was like, "Yeah, actually he did." I was like,
Well,
"Okay."
sorta. I guess
The
maybe
scene
she's
in the
talking about like when
sewers.
he's in the sewer. Yeah, and he like kind of like
No,
swerves
he does
around
the
or
big
whatever.
jump. He
Does he
does
do
the
a
big
jump
jump on
in the sewer?
No, he does a big jump on that bridge.
On the bridge.
The bridge where you first see him, and he
Yeah,
goes.
I know what you're talking about there when he falls.
Does he?
I don't remember him making a.
He does the jump. Like the cops are like chasing him and shit, or the feds or whatever. He does the big jump. Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I
don't
mean,
I
remember.
just watched it.
you're the person talking with, but I thought you said you fell asleep.
I finished watching it. I'm not gonna
Oh,
like
okay.
watch half of it and then try to do a score on it. No, I just finished it this morning, and he
Oh,
does
okay.
the big jump, and they're like shooting and stuff, and he lands and he does this really corny like fist pump, and then he flips him off and shit. I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
all
Oh,
right,
okay. Yeah, I remember that
that's
now. Yeah.
that's their big stunt budget, I guess, was that, and then the like.
See, like I don't. I think that there's like, I would agree with both of you. Like, I think that it is like a little corny and cheesy, but I still think that it's like a really well thought, well put together script. But like I feel like it's aware of that. Like I'm okay
Mhm.
with that corniness because I don't think it's doing that for like cheap like audience reaction stuff. I think it's I don't know. I like he is it's a little
Yeah,
sure
no.
he does the big jump, but
It's. I think it's
I don't
very.
know. I
I
didn't
think
think it
it's.
was like laughable, I guess.
I think it's very of its time. I guess with its like style of like joke writing, because like there are a few things that was like I was talking about earlier with setups and payoffs. Like he goes to buy condoms at the pharmacy, and of course
Mhm.
the Reverend shows up. So he's like, "Oh, I'm actually buying them for my friend." And
Yeah.
then he, the pharmacist is like, "Oh, do you want
Yeah.
ribbed?" And then he takes the girl on a date, and her dad was the pharmacist that just sold him.
Yeah.
And his only line is
Yeah.
just ribbed,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, that part. Whoa, that part. Both me and Kalia were like, "Oh shit!" when he lowered the paper. That was
Yeah.
really good.
And
Yeah,
then there's another really good, I guess, more social commentary part, whereas like the two kids want to go see the slasher movie, and they're like, "It's fine, Mom. There's no sex. It's only violence." Like,
yeah,
because like I've definitely like dealt with that with my parents, with like they're totally okay with like Saving Private Ryan or watching other movies, but as soon as there's like a sex scene, it's like
Mhm.
that's that's the objectionable content.
yeah,
Boobies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. And that's why you didn't get to watch the director's cut of Amadeus. Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I didn't hate it. I don't think it's bad or anything.
Sure.
I just thought it was a little bit it was corny, but almost like not corny enough. I don't know how to
Mm.
explain it. Like I actually did think like the kills were interesting. I thought I liked the like
I
very
do want to get into that, the effects and stuff.
thing borderline like
Yep.
had that same vibe.
Yeah,
Like and I kind of liked how not relentless but like it didn't pull punches on like who it would kill.
I
It was not
literally wrote
precious.
that
It was
down.
not precious
I
about
wrote
its character deaths.
when the
Yeah.
kid died in the sewer.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I
Yeah.
wrote, "Killed a kid, doesn't pull punches."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
do
thought we
kind
were
of
going to be
like that.
spending the whole movie with Paul, and Paul got sucked
too.
up like
Yeah,
20
that was-
minutes in.
Like it does a pretty decent like switcheroo on you. It totally
Yeah.
makes you think that he's gonna be the main character. And I was like, "Yeah, Donovan. Yeah."
Oh,
That's-
is that
that's
who?
Donovan's kid.
That was Donovan.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looked like the main dude from Mallrats to me.
That's what Kalia said. She said she looked like, or she said he looked like I think like Donovan mixed with Jeremy London from Mallrats. Yeah, he kind of did. Yeah,
When
Same
he kills
with-
when it kills the kid too. It's really like
fucking gory. Like,
kid-
well, and
doesn't-
it's
yeah,
a
'cause the kid
180
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna
Shit.
say the kid like pops up out of the water and he's like got the
Yeah.
the blob like sunken butthole face. Like
yeah,
Yeah, he's not quite like fully dissolved yet. He's still like he's like 20% dissolved.
yeah.
yeah.
But like it's immediately after the kid's like, "Oh, please don't let it eat me. I'll never watch a bad movie again." Or I think he says, "I'll never watch a movie again."
Yeah, he says I'll
It's
never
like-
watch a movie. Yeah, because I'm like, was that the first movie he ever watched or something?
No, I think he's just saying like, not only will I not ever like
Right.
watch a bad movie, I'll never even watch a movie again. Please
Yeah.
don't let me die. And then it's like, no, you're dead like in 15 seconds, bud. And it's like, I mean, it's really that's kind of like brutal. Like
It is usually
it
when
almost
like
crosses
kids
a line.
usually when kids die in movies, it'll like cut away, it never actually
Yeah.
shows it, or it doesn't
And it
actually kill them, right? It, like,
Definitely doesn't show their body.
yeah,
being,
they're
like,
half melted body.
manipulated. Yeah.
Yeah, I told like the whole time I was, she dives in after him after he goes under. I thought it was gonna do one of those things where the water settles and oh no, they're both, and then she pops up,
And then it pops up.
and then
yeah.
she pops up. I'm like, oh, okay, and then he pops up. It's like, oh fuck.
And he pops up and like he's like reaching like please like he's
Yeah.
still like as he's being
Yeah.
dissolved like please save
It's
me.
really that's another thing that I like. I think that's kind of what put it over for me. For like it's not just the script and the writing that I love. I feel like it's just like a lot of good things. That like make it overall a pretty great movie in my eyes. And yeah, just the effects all over. I
Mhm.
thought like the way that they did the blob was really good. I think except for like those few like there's some green screen, especially later on when it's really big.
Oh yeah.
It looks little. It looks. Eh.
There's like this
Other
scene.
than
I think
that,
one of the
really
cops runs
good.
and falls, and then it just like you can. It's so
Yeah.
obvious that it's It's just-
Or
I
when
mean-
she's like hanging in the sewer. Like the
Yeah.
blob itself looks good, but like her layered on top of it
yeah,
doesn't.
Yeah.
But like the blob of you can see it has like that like mouth kind of thing, like reaching for her.
I think the best example of the practical effects is the phone booth scene.
The
To me,
phone-
that was
I
like
was gonna reference that,
that was
too.
like the
That was
best. It was
fucking
really a cool way to kind of see the inside, and you could see she's like, "Oh, can you send Herb over?" And they're like,
that
"Oh,
too.
Herb was heading over to the diner," and then like you see his face like
Yeah.
dissolving in the blob, and like it's
That was
pretty-
another
pretty
like
cool.
that was another kind of switch because and another example of why I think the script is so good is because like it felt kind of like I guess an example is like I'm trying to think of like good ensemble movies like Ocean's 11 I
Departed.
think is a good example. The Departed, sure, yeah, Departed is a really good example where it's like everybody's a main character, right? It's like
Mhm.
Leo's the main character, Matt Dillon. God damn it, Matt
Kevin
Damon.
Dillon.
Yeah, Matt Damon's the main character. Jack Nicholson. It really balances them all, and it makes a few different characters feel like the main character. At first, you're like, oh, Paul's the main character, and then you're like, oh, Brian, Kevin Dillon, is also like they're both the main character, and then Paul dies, and then it's kind of like the sheriff is like another main character. Like I thought he was gonna be in it the whole time, and then
Yeah.
like at the end maybe Brian and the sheriff were gonna team up. He was like the one
Right.
authority figure who would like listen to them or whatever, and then he's just dead,
Yeah.
and then that lady's dead too because when
Yeah, they
she's back in the-
started a love interest type thing.
exactly
And then
yeah
sorry.
because when
Yeah.
it's funny because when she's back, it's right before the phone booth. She's in the back, at like the sink, and it's clogged or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And she's like trying to dig out. I'm like, obviously the blob's in there, right? That's what's going on. We saw
Yeah.
it going to the sewers. Obviously, this is
Uh-huh.
what's gonna happen. But I remember thinking, like, well, they're not gonna kill her off right now, right? Because she is like they're building that love interest thing with the sheriff. Yeah, she's not gonna. And then like the other guy comes in. I'm like, oh yeah, so he's gonna die instead. Of course, they're not gonna kill her. And then the next fucking scene is her in the phone booth, and she gets fucking flattened by that thing. When it explodes in there, that was another. There was multiple like fuck moments
Yeah.
for me where it's just like, it looks so. I get this like a dummy of her, but when it just like, and you see her body just like crumple, the effects are so good in this movie.
There's another scene with another character that I thought was gonna have like it was the assistant cop, the dude from RoboCop,
Oh yeah,
Riggs.
Yeah.
I feel like there's always a cop named Riggs in all of these movies. But there's like I think it's like
it might have been.
but there's like a scene when like the blob is like ravaging through town and they're holed up in that building and they're trying to shoot it and he's like, oh, barricade the doors, and like there's a scene where he tries to barricade the door and the blob reaches in and like folds him in half. It sucks him
That's
through.
right.
And like because that was the dude that was like, up in, I called him Kissed by a Vampire James Hurley from Twin Peaks. That was like the
Oh,
main
wait.
guy.
I wrote down James too. Yeah,
Nice.
but-
Big forehead motorcycle. That's
yeah.
But I thought because like when I'm just gonna call him James. When James was at the station, they thought he had murdered Paul, and this other guy, like Detective Riggs or whatever his name is like up in his
it's
face. Briggs.
I just checked.
Nice.
Call him
Briggs is
Riggs
like
and
has
James.
got a hard on for this guy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna arrest you. And again, another like interesting like cop dynamic where he's just like, am I being detained? Have you charged me for anything? Like, I want a lawyer. And I don't know if that was meant to be like a social commentary thing, but I think in 2021 I read it as that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But he
that-
licks his face.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was weird.
It's-
That is
I
weird.
loved it. I don't know.
about that.
I'm a fanboy.
I
That
see,
was-
I think for me, like I just dislike Kevin Dillon so much that like
Have you
and I
seen him
didn't
in
even
something
realize
else
it
that you
really-
hate him in?
I don't
I
think
mean,
I've seen him
he's-
in anything really. I'm aware of him in Entourage, but
Entourage, yeah. That's
But
I
I've
mean,
never
I
seen
have
that.
seen like partial things of Entourage. I don't think I've ever seen like a full episode.
Mm.
Um, but I've just never really liked his face, and I really hated his face in this. And he had something going on with his tooth, and his
Yeah,
hair
he's
was
always kind of
terrible.
weird.
He's just such a fucking dweeb.
He looks like
And-
Ethan Hawke as he's gotten older.
Oh, sort of. Yeah, definitely older. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like a
that'd
dweeby
be a plus
version
for
of
me.
Ethan Hawke.
Right.
I love Ethan Hawke though. He's one of my favorite actors. I mean, I always liked Matt Dillon, I guess. So maybe I associate
Dillon's
him
fine.
with him, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And I guess that he's in Platoon, and I do remember him in Platoon, but I think that's the
hopefully he
only
gets
other
killed
thing
in
I've seen.
that.
I'm not sure. He might. I mean, a lot of people die in that movie.
Also, I didn't like the main girl's hair. Like,
Yeah,
I'm fine.
that like
I get it.
floofy 80s hair.
The 80s hair, I get it. And Kelly loves that. She loves 80s hair like that. But and it's fine. She had the big floofy in the front. But when you first see her and she's cheerleading and she's kind of facing away from the camera and you see the stuff going down her back, it looks like a sheet of fucking paper. It's so flat and it looks so fucking dead. It looks like all I could picture in my head. This doesn't really make sense, but it just looked like a raccoon skin cap. Is that's all I could see. It was big thing out front, and then just except it was like a wedding veil turned backwards was her hair.
Yeah,
it's I just couldn't take it.
She was another one who there was so many people, mostly actors in this that I was like, oh hey, it's that person type of thing, like Jack Nance. No idea who was in this, and just for the one scene.
Yeah.
But that girl is, I don't know if you guys have seen all of them, or if you've seen the first Saw as much as I have, you'd know who she is. She's Amanda from the Saw series.
Is she the first one in the jaw trap?
The bear
but
trap.
She gets out of it.
Yeah, she's the one who survives.
Oh, okay.
And then she comes back and she's in a few of the sequels too.
Yeah.
She's kind of one of the core characters of the series. Which made me just realize how long ago the early 2000s are now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, this is in the 80s. And I'm like, well, but she'd be but she'd be in her 40s by the time Saw came around, right? But no, it's because that was only 15 years later or something. So she was still in her 30s, but time.
Yeah. Saw was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I
and
also,
and since you mentioned, sorry, you mentioned a point of contention I had, unless I missed a line of dialogue or something. Why did they arrest Brian for Paul's death? Did they think that he dissolved him whole? He's a serial killer who goes around dissolving people? And also the homeless guy, he's he halved a homeless guy and turned him into Jello.
They could have thought that he put the stuff on him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they thought he acid burned him, but
to
that's
a puddle.
such a
So that was a bit where I was like, I don't know if I can believe that.
Well, okay. So I guess if they dissolved him, would the blob leave? Would it take all of that with him, with the blob? So
well, I guess so.
Was there no evidence of Paul anymore? All they had to go off was her saying yeah, Paul's dead. I mean, she ripped his arm off.
That's true. They do have his severed arm and then nothing else. So but yeah, I don't know. It's still a little wonky. And either way, the blob did leave that homeless guy dissolved at the torso. So he was, because before Paul died, they go to that guy's bed and the blob had left him. So the blob wasn't with the homeless guy. And, they pull the sheet away and his legs are gone. They're soup. So there's that guy. I don't know. It's a little.
So it's a little nitpick.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
really liked I think there were some really good like visual gags too. Like the scene with like the guy like trying to get in whatever girl's pants, and like
Oh,
he opened up his trunk and he's got like his whole setup of like drinks and
yeah,
mixers
I
or
thought that was
whatever.
funny.
But it was kind of like it reminded me of the Arrested Development Monopoly joke where like he gets uh George Michael the copy of Monopoly, and then when he puts it up in the attic you see like stacks of boxes of Monopoly. He's like,
Oh,
"Yeah, babe, you're wearing my class ring. You're my girl."
Oh yeah.
oh,
And then
yeah.
you open the trunk and you see just like a little thing full of like the same identical class rings.
Yeah. Which, knowing how expensive those were when I was in school, does that mean he just like dropped like hundreds of dollars?
Yeah, like
Oh no,
this is his thing.
I
Yeah,
pictured they were like
like
quarter
knockoff.
machine shit,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
like chintz, like really cheap, like plastic Halloween jewelry or something.
It could be, yeah, because like back in the 80s, before everything was like even cheaper, you could probably get like a solid metal ring in a quarter machine
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
instead of
Yeah,
like a dinky plastic one.
that part Kelly was like, oh, she was like, when that scene first started, she was like, okay, date raper, and I was like, I didn't really say anything, and then he goes to make the drinks, and he has all the rings, and she's like, is that all the women he slept with? And I was like, no, those are he
Yeah,
gives
he
those, and
collects them off of them.
he says that like, oh, you're wearing my ring now, which doesn't make sense because like if these are all girls from his school or something, I assume like
Wouldn't they
wouldn't
know?
they
Yeah,
know
there's like
oh, he
30
gave me
girls
his
walking
ring.
around with his class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he comes she missed the part where like the blob goes into the car, like it shows
It's like
Oh,
from its
rustling in the
Evil
perspective.
Dead
bushes.
camera
Yeah,
thing.
for
Yeah.
some reason she missed that part, and then
Oh,
like
okay.
it gets really creepy. Like he starts to like unbutton her blouse and he's like talking to her, and
Yeah.
she was like she was really like
Oh, she
disgusted.
just
And I
didn't
was like,
even
it's
realize something was coming.
no, I was like, you said he was a date raper. Like he's gonna try and date rape her. And she was like, oh, but I didn't want to see it. And then I was like, what do you? I mean, it's not gonna happen. He's gonna get like eaten by the blob. But she didn't catch it, so she was completely caught off guard. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah,
Nice.
that's how that's gonna happen.
I think
Yeah,
that
I was.
scene is like the header photo on IMDb. It's one of them with like
That's the one that I used.
the girlfriend like all
Page.
like sucked in, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Ah."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that also reminds me of one of my favorite scenes in the movie, which is funny because it's a scene of a movie in the movie,
Oh.
which is when they're at the movie theater and like there's two people like making out and they make it seem like it's part of the movie, but it's actually
mhm.
and then it's like there's a guy, isn't it
oh.
kind of late to be trimming hedges? And then
Oh.
they're like, I don't know. And he's like, maybe he's a peeping Tom. And she's like, let's give him something to peep about. And then he like looks up and he has a hockey mask on, and then this is where you can kind of see the transition into that it's they're watching
Yeah.
a movie. And then you just hear in the background the guy goes, hockey season ended months ago.
Yeah. That might too.
That was really good.
Yeah.
And then there's the
Yeah.
guy in the background with the trucker hat on. He's like, yeah, check this out. He's gonna hot iron this chick. Yeah. He's like describing the whole, and I was like, that guy's dead. Like he's
Yeah.
definitely.
I
gonna
wrote
bite
down.
it.
I thought it would have been so cool if they had spoofed Nightmare on Elm Street instead, since that was the one that he directed and not Friday the 13th.
Well, I was gonna say I think
Hockey
I
mask.
wrote in my notes like "Eat your heart out, Wes Craven," because I felt like that was like a really like sort of Wes Craven-y like meta like we're watching a horror movie and commenting on a horror movie type deal.
Maybe that's why he did. Oh yeah, I guess that if it's kind of like making fun of it, maybe that's why he didn't do Nightmare, since that was the last movie that he made before this one. He's like, well, I can't necessarily make fun of my own movie,
Yeah.
maybe, but I can
Wait,
do one
Wes
that's
who?
really
Wes Craven.
similar.
Get it out of your system. um, yeah, didn't that dude get like sucked up into the ceiling from the blob too?
in
Yeah.
the movie theater.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I didn't realize because it was like I wasn't paying attention to like specific because it just kind of like turned to like
Yeah,
mad
he
things
got
in
like
there.
Yeah.
it was kind of like the thing where you'd let like spit like fall out of your mouth and then you suck
Yeah.
it back up. It was kind of that.
Yeah. Or one of those things from like Half-Life.
Oh yeah, the barnacles.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
barnacle things. Yeah.
I was like, yeah. That's like the only death where I was like, you know what? People who talk in movies like that, I don't feel super bad for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what the whole movie kind of was. It was like date raper, get rid of those guys. Like he was just kind of killing the bad people. Like kill the date raper, kill the movie talker, kill the
I like how
bad
those two are
influenced kid.
equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like you have to be basically like perfect, unimpeachable, like
Except the first couple people. Like the first one's the homeless guy, and then the next one that dies is like this
Justice is blind, baby.
Seemingly nice enough, like you know, he was like a respectable young man who like, you know, he died because I mean, it was because he hit the guy, but like he died because he took this homeless guy to the hospital and like tried to help him out and stuff, and then you know, he was just doing the right thing the whole time, pretty much.
The thing with the homeless guy, if you notice, he's living out like in the wilderness, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy wasn't paying his taxes. So
okay.
Yeah.
They all
and then
have
Paul
their
dies because he was helping somebody who was
because he had a side part or
he was
something.
paying his
He was
taxes with all
aiding
the
and abetting.
cans. He was paying the taxes with all the recycling he was doing.
He was actually the worst one. He was like, he was like a child like trafficker or something.
Yeah, we didn't know what Paul was up to, but whoever it was bad.
And the chick who was running the diner was like, she had like Munchausen by proxy and was like poisoning all of the diner like patrons. And
yeah, she was doing some Comet Ping Pong pizza shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the thing earlier, and I also, that was another note that I had exactly that. I thought the most like where I thought of that, like I wrote down, like I actually checked in the credits to see if Rob Bottin did the special effects because he was like the makeup artist for the thing. And there's like, particularly when there's like the kid like when he's melting, and then when Paul, like the last shot you see of Paul as his face is like separating inside the blob, looks very much like in particular the blood test scene in the thing. When they test the blood and then Copper's face starts like melting and separating like that. It looked a lot like how it does in the blob. But I didn't. He wasn't a part of it, but looked like it. Very, very good, and that's a high praise for me because I think the thing is like the best. I and a lot of people, I should say, I'm not a singular voice here, but the thing is hailed as like arguably like the best practical effects ever in the movie. Like it's fantastic how that movie.
And you know why? It's because they use real bullets in their guns.
Okay.
Real flames in their flamethrowers, at least.
Yeah, that shit was real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like. I don't know. I don't have a lot to add to this conversation because I don't know. There's the science talk was also very interesting. Like they kind of did that in the other movie that we're going to talk about too, where they like say phrases. It's almost like they just try to think of like big words to make it sound like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe that's part of the
I
bit.
know what you're talking about.
Like that could be part of it, but
yeah.
I thought, because when did the Berlin Wall come down? Is that
89?
So this is like one of the last movies that's like that has like the Soviet Union as like a punching bag. Or like, oh well, we gotta get this thing. Can you imagine what it would do to the Ruskies if we had this thing? It's like how quaint that is now to think about like the Soviet Union as like a world power that we were like, man, we really did a whole bunch of shit because we were so scared of like Russia that it's just like the scapegoat for every like a whole genre of movies. Where,
Yeah.
like, the threat of Russia
yeah.
is like the number
mean-
one like instigator.
It works. It does work. Like those are like, I mean, it's pretty easy to like. They're kind of like far away from us, and
Yeah.
they speak with their accent is kind of. I mean, maybe this is just from my perspective of being tainted by them being the bad guys all the time, but like they do make good bad guys. Like even
Yeah.
Drago is good, and the team from. Well, I guess they're not necessarily Russian, but kind of that area, like Mighty Ducks, and
It is like a naturally villainous sounding accent, I will say.
Yeah.
Like German too, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe is that just because that's how it's been painted in our minds this whole
Could
time?
be.
Like
Could
it could
be.
like if
You're
they
not
had
immune
made
to
British
propaganda.
people, yeah, if British people, they, I don't know. There's just it does sound goofy, like British people. I don't know if you could make that like villainous, but maybe, like,
I'm sure to
Cockney or
like a certain subset of people that Britain colonized, that accent does sound
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, you can make the English accent very
Oh, yeah.
very sinister sound. Like yeah, I don't like every
Do you
well not
know
every.
what nemesis means?
Well, I was thinking like half of the James Bond villains, right?
Oh
Like-
yeah.
Yeah,
The ones that
Yeah.
aren't Asian stereotypes.
Yeah, also that.
yeah. Yeah, I know, and that's kind of where we are now, where it's like it's kind of like the new one is China, but that's kind of like
It doesn't feel as
Uh,
fun. China's not
no,
as
it
fun as
doesn't.
the USSR, you know.
it's because it's not
They
as
don't have
like
as good a branding, I don't think.
it's not that yeah, it is kind of a branding thing. It's like
And it's like
Uh,
you can't have like a Chinese Ivan Drago in a movie, and it because then it'd just be like, well, that's you're just kind of being racist. But like with,
That-
with
well,
Russian
that's what I
people,
mean.
it's like, oh, okay, yeah,
it's like it's a little like hard to like how do you toe that line of like
yeah,
all Chinese people are scary and evil, but also like don't be fucking racist. You can't do it.
Yeah.
yeah. How do we make saying that an entire race of people is bad and evil without seeming racist?
I guess because Russian isn't like a race. It's like, I mean, it is
Oh,
a race,
well,
but
or
it's not
it's
like a separate race.
well, but
from-
also they're like, yeah, they're white, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
They look like similar to us, the most similar to us
Right.
as.
yeah, I
compared to, like-
mean, they're like European, I guess is the way to put it.
yeah,
right?
Europe. There you go.
like-
Yeah,
And we're just
Yeah.
boring.
We're just- yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's yeah. It's just not.
It's we've talked. I
Maybe
think
we
we've
should
talked
change
about
the
it.
topic. at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
maybe we should. Maybe we should. yeah. I don't even. I was like looking up people in the movie when it started, and I like got into it halfway.
Oh, I was gonna
my
say
stance is white people are
maybe
boring.
maybe why the Berlin Wall was torn down is because they were like, "Have you guys seen the Blob?" They were just yelling over the wall like, "There's this new movie called The Blob that came out. It's so rad."
You guys got to see it. There's hucking VHS cassettes over the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I another person you guys probably maybe recognized who the sheriff was.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey DeMunn, who's been in I checked, that's what I was looking up when you started talking about that. He's been in every Frank Darabont movie.
Yeah,
thought,
I
like,
recognized
Maybe,
him
like, you missed a couple,
as
but
one of the guys from. Well, he's in.
He's in
Was
he's
yeah,
in
the
Shawshank.
Green.
He's
The Green
lawyer
Mile
at
is the
the
one that I
beginning.
really remember him from.
Green
Who's
Mile.
in Shawshank?
He's only in it a little bit. He's the lawyer at the beginning who, like,
Okay, that's right.
who's
That's right.
prosecuting Andy.
That's right.
And then yeah, he's in Majestic, The Mist, The Walking Dead. He's in like all of his stuff, and that's
Oh,
primarily
that's
what I know that guy from.
Yeah, he's like a good character actor.
Yeah, and I looked up. Yeah, I mean, I thought Trust. I'm not a fan of The Walking Dead, but there is still I didn't even like love the first season, but at least it was like handled by Frank Darabont, who I think is a like there's definitely a standard change between that
Yeah.
first season and everything that followed, because he just like lost control and then just left the show.
I
like
mean,
partway
and
through
I'm not.
season two.
I wasn't even making that face just at the show. I did think this like the show,
Oh
the
yeah, I know.
first part of the first season, I was like, okay, and then it like how it ended, I was like, nah, not for me. But even the graphic novels after like maybe 15, number
Mhm.
15, it just gets so
After
like
the prison. Or
Yeah, it gets so
Yeah.
melodramatic, and
I think the prison is where like I stopped reading for a while, because that was like all the books that you had for a little bit,
yeah,
and like I just feel like such a disconnect like after that point, like one that feels like an ending, and then immediately after that is where it gets so repetitive and just so oh, that's me. um uh but yeah, Walking Dead, not good, but I still, I still give Frank Darabont props for the first season at least.
He
yeah.
tried.
Yeah,
Dude,
he did. There's a lot of like
'Cause, like-
bullshit that happened with like I don't know. I've even seen him on, because like I watched The Talking Dead for a little bit, like when that first started, and like no, I know it was so.
chills.
I just did it because it was like it worked, because it was on right after the show, right? So it's just like it. I think that's how that show has been able to continue, because it's literally like, well, I was watching this anyways, so it just started playing. Might as well keep watching it,
Yeah.
type of thing. Even though I fucking hate Chris Hardwick, like one of my least. He's on the level of like he's a very like Jimmy Fallon-esque like host who just is annoying as fuck.
Nice.
But yeah, like whenever there's like a couple of the producers on there just like seem really sleazy, and just from what I've heard that like went down with the second season and like why Frank Darabont left, it not that I needed any more reasons to like dislike the show other than it's bad and boring, but that just like made it all the worse.
Do you guys have anything else to say about this movie? Because we've got like 15 minutes left before we're supposed to go to like scores, but we keep getting sidetracked to like other shit. So I don't know if anybody else has
Well,
anything else to say.
that was one of my notes that started leading into that. I was just like referencing more
Okay.
people who were, that was mostly
It's
it. There's
fine.
him and Art LaFleur was another one I was gonna mention. The dad, the girlfriend's dad, who's another dude
He's-
who's just in everything.
Yeah, I recognized him. He's like, I recognized him immediately, but also I was like, but from what? I
Just
know who you are.
anything in the 90s. He's like
Yeah.
one of those dudes who like never ages. He's always perpetually 45 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess I mentioned most of the other people too. That's all my notes though. If
I'm
you
good
guys
to
are
do
good,
a wrap up.
I'm good to move on. Okay. Who wants to start us off? Travis, you go. I'm picking. You go
Okay.
first.
I don't know. It's not bad. It is kind of like a fun Halloween, or it's a fun movie to watch. If you're trying to break up going from like actual horror to another actual horror or something. It's kind of a good fun one to just have on. It's in the same realm as Dream Warriors, but I think Dream Warriors has something extra to it. I don't know. Maybe it's the mainstream Freddy Krueger slasher part of it.
Yeah.
Kevin Dillon sucks. 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I would. That was one of my things that I did want to talk about, but I'll just bring in here that
Kevin Dillon
maybe
sucking.
no, the Nightmare on Elm Street comparison, that like
Okay.
it's probably because because of the directorial and writer ties to that, but I was kind of pairing it with that and thinking that like it did feel very similar to Nightmare on Elm Street part 3. Really fun horror, not scary but horrifying, right? Like I don't really think Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was that scary either, but like this, it has some pretty horrifying. It's not as outright gory and just like body horror disgusting, but the vein marionette that's fucking horrifying to see. And then like
Yeah.
the girls like puckering syringe holes, that really, so they both have a lot of really similar elements. They're both really fun. A lot of the nightmare stuff comes from Freddy, and that's why he's such a great character. Um, this just kind of comes from the overall vibe of the movie, I guess. I think the movie as a whole is more fun. Um, uh, and I think I should say I don't like it as much as these, and I get why these ones have earned their place in history, but I feel like this should be, because I also kept thinking of The Fly and The Thing, which are also remakes of 50s creature features. These three like big, not big budget really, but 80s remakes of these old monster movies, and this is the one that gets left out. Like you said, it's one that you'd find in like a $2 bargain bin, whereas like The Fly and The Thing are hailed as classics of the horror genre, as they should be. And again, I do like those more than this, but I think that this should be in the same conversation when bringing up those movies. I think it fits right into that. Like I think it's in the same strata, just a little bit lower, and that's why I'm going to give it an 8.
I'm gonna
Great movie,
I'm
really
gonna
fun.
I'm gonna take that the dribble that you passed to me. I'm gonna say my number first because I'm also at an 8. Yeah, I caught it.
Nice.
I'm also at an 8. I think the reason that it's not as critically acclaimed as the other two is I think literally because it like has more comedy elements in it. I think The Thing is more like very much like a more dramatic, straightforward thing. I haven't seen The Fly in a while, but I don't think The Fly is like
not
necessarily
fun.
not funny.
It's not fun.
Yeah, and I think that's like the only reason that it doesn't get put up in that echelon of like creature
Could be.
feature body horror movies. But I thought the comedy added to it. I thought because yeah, like you said, it's not horror; it's horrifying. Visual effects were amazing. I thought the comedy, like I laughed out loud multiple times throughout. I thought like a lot of the comedic like setups and payoffs were pretty great. And it's like, yeah, like you were talking about with like Dream Warriors. I think why Dream Warriors works, like you said with Freddy, because like the Blob isn't like cracking jokes. The Blob's not like prime time, bitch.
Mhm.
Like it's this faceless, well, not necessarily faceless, I suppose, but it's like it's like an entity that
It
doesn't.
has faces in it.
Yeah.
That's what he was getting at.
Good.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
get into my inner
I got the
moose.
read off of that joke.
I'm gonna my inner moose is like, what's the Blob's backstory? What's his deal? What's but I think that also helped where it was just like we don't know what this thing is and it doesn't have any motivation other than like consume and grow. But yeah, no, I was like a strong 8 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. I was expecting, all of like the horror tropes to just be there and like be terrible, but the combination of Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont is pretty good team. Pretty good team. Pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I think something that you guys talking just kind of brought, I think maybe solidifies, or not solidifies, but I think I kind of figured out why I didn't like it as much is
Why you
like
didn't
you said.
gel with it?
Yeah. Because the Blob like it's faceless. It doesn't have personality necessarily. It's just like I'm like even in The Thing, it's like that doesn't technically have a personality. You don't really see it though. It's kind of like the people are its personality.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like so there's
That's kind of the whole point of that movie is that like you never see it, you never know where it is or what it's doing. Yeah.
Kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers is similar.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the Blob doesn't have like what is its motivation to kind of like be a little bit serious on the moose side of it? Yeah, like what is its motivation? It just wants to devour.
Isn't that like another, and I mean, you do like the Halloween series, right? I feel like
Yeah.
the Blob is practically no different from Michael Myers, other than Michael Myers is a humanoid figure.
It's just a different
He's
shape.
credited as the shape in the
Yeah.
credits, right? Because John Carpenter wrote him as a force of nature, a thing that is like so inhuman, it just wants to kill.
But
and
he
that's
does have
all it does.
ties to like
In the first movie, but like that's so loose. They made the fact
No,
that he
no,
was
I know.
related to Laurie. That was a retroactive thing. That wasn't even a thing in the first movie. Um but still, so what? He's from the town. Who gives a shit? The Blob's from Earth and he wants to eat people on Earth. Like
I
I
think
think
that
that's cool. I like the
Yeah.
whole like the unknowable like I don't know why
Yeah,
it's
I can
doing
see it.
this. And it's like it's this relentless thing that's just gonna eat, and I think that adds to the
Actually, I guess I shouldn't say that I get it. I should say that like I understand how somebody could
could
vibe
like
with
that.
that. Yeah.
But I'm saying,
it's
don't
just,
you like Halloween, or you get why? Because you think Michael Myers is scary. You always said that he was like the scariest. Like
Yeah, he's like the
slasher.
scariest slasher because I mean it's the music and he's just got like
Music is really good. I
the
mean,
music is really good. And yeah, I mean I'm not saying that horror stories are like concrete. In fact, most of them are liquid. They're amorphous. They're blob-like. But
one could say.
yeah, I don't know. It's almost like the blob was it was too much of that. I guess it was too far for that for me. You know.
Okay.
One thing, just to I guess to fill out the time a little bit, we didn't talk about the Reverend at all. Which like there's
yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, holy shit, yeah.
Because like he kind of found out early how it kind of worked because he found like the crystals or whatever. Because like they kill the blob by freezing it, or they kill it, and then like it's almost like a post credits. It's not a post credits scene, but it's almost like a little stinger at the end because he gets like burnt alive but survives it.
Yeah,
and like. It's revealed at the end that he's got a little jar, like he sectioned off a little piece of the blob, but like there's like a scene earlier where it's like he's got these little crystals, and like because when the blob eventually gets frozen at the end, it's like all these little crystals.
Yeah. I think that's a good payoff for both his thing because he's just kind of in the background, but you're like, okay, he's like they keep bringing him in for some reason.
And he was like an English teacher.
Like, the final scene.
He was the English teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That was like his one big credit.
Oh. And then also that pays off to show that like I mean, I guess I kind of figured that anyways, but just showing that like, you know, this bit that he had was frozen, but then when it thawed out, it's perfectly fine. So it's like they didn't really kill it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to just hope that it stays frozen now.
Yeah, right. But yeah, like the Reverend character.
Like
the Reverend character, I thought it was just gonna be like, I thought his whole existence was like for the joke. When the Reverend is like, "Oh, you're buying condoms. I haven't seen you in Sunday school," and then he comes back and like, "Oh, okay, you have more to do."
Yeah,
like
it
just seemed like a very all the characters were like thoughtfully written, where like they weren't just punchlines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I didn't like think about it, but yeah, he did seem like when he shows up in that first scene that he's in, he does kind of seem just like a one-off, like you said. Same thing with the pharmacist too. Wasn't expecting him to be the girl's dad either. So like, all the characters in that scene had more of a like point to the story, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, you're gonna go with. We were talking about spooky stuff.
What movie are we watching next week?
Yeah, I guess we can just go into that because we're gonna. Okay, so that's it for this episode. It's a pretty brisk one. But if you're listening to us on the podcast, then ignore this. But if you're watching us live on stream, this is one of 2 episodes that we're doing right now. We're gonna take a little break, and we will be back to do our next episode. We're gonna do the whole intro. We're gonna restart, and we are talking. So if you're listening to the podcast, watch this before the next episode drops. We are talking the 2016 version, or not version, 2016 movie. I was gonna say like a remake again, but it's not.
Of the 1950s remake.
Yeah. The 2016 movie Bedeviled, directed by the Vanga Boys, or the Vang brothers.
Are those the YouTube guys?
The Vanga Boys are. That's what I was making.
Yeah.
They drive the Vang bus.
Yeah.
No,
The Vang Bros.
The Vang brothers. So yeah, watch that before next episode if you don't want to be spoiled. Or if you're watching this on stream, watch it side by side, I guess. I don't know. No, don't
It's
do
like
that.
Dark Side of the Moon. Certain shit will line up. But
Yeah.
Let me give you a hint. Don't actually watch this movie.
Yeah, don't actually watch it. Yeah. And yeah, as you know, we're on a podcast. If you're watching this on stream, we're on podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all this shit. And if you're listening to us on podcast, we stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/therewillbeduds.
and all the
So,
VODs get dumped
check it
on
out there.
YouTube. So if you want to watch
That too.
that way, do that.
And we also have socials on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, where we post clips and the like.
Soon to be TikTok. Soon, it's in the works.
Soon to be. Yeah. But yeah, so that's it for this week / episode. We will be back in a bit.
As always.
Until next time, as always. Bye-bye.
Hey. Wait. We
Are
didn't
we
do
out
our proper sign off.
You didn't.
Oh,
do
fuck me. Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
why I was trying to lead it in with the as
Oh,
always.
Jesus. I maybe because we're doing another one, I just had a brain fart and completely forgot. Oh shit. Okay.
I was thinking of what I was gonna say for mine too. I was like,
That was while you were doing the social stuff. I'm like,
Okay.
I gotta have a backup because somebody always steals mine.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're always on the same
I-
wavelength.
Yeah. Yeah, inevitably somebody, there is always a double. Okay, I am your 20% dissolved little brother. Please don't let me go. Jeez, jeez.
I'll never see another movie
AKA
again.
I'll never see another movie again. I can't do this podcast anymore. Jeez, Jack Cheese, aka TJ, and with me, as always.
As always, I am your folded up assistant sheriff
Nice.
getting sucked through a door
Bookcase
by
or something.
yeah, whatever he got sucked into. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
And I'm your date. No. I'm your big jump hitting Travis, aka the Super General.
I knew you're gonna go.
Nice. Okay, now until
No.
next time. Bye.
Bye.
The fuck out of here.